What's up everybody, Yu-Gi-Oh 101 tips, and in this video I'm going to be speaking on getting more out of your cards. Now this is a subject that I haven't spoken about in many months. Last time I spoke about this actually was when a card by the name of Puppet Ritual came out back in July in the booster pack Number Hunters. And it's a philosophy that I came up with, years and years ago, that don't just use your cards for what they allow you to. Get more out of your cards, and you're going to understand that philosophy a bit better as this video goes on. But this card, this video is actually going to be based around the card, let me see, Pot of Duality. Now, Pot of Duality is a card that I've avoided throughout the entire time it was first announced. And I forget what booster pack it came in, but I literally did not bother with Pot of Duality because when I see cards like Pot of Duality, I see cards like Solemn Judgment and Solemn Warning. They're cards that has a negative drawback that I feel will prevent me from winning the game. And I always, in my mind, always thinks that when I'm in a position to where I wish I had this amount of life points, or or I needed this special summon, or what have you, then I could have done it, but because I activated these cards, I'm not able to do it anymore. But that doesn't mean that these cards can't be helpful in ways that most people literally. I honestly believe I'm the only person in Yu-Gi-Oh that thinks this way, and I would like to think that I'm not alone, but I honestly feel like I am. But first, let me talk to you about Solemn Warning and Solemn Judgment. Now, just like Pot of Duality, as I said, these are two cards that I completely avoided because I feel like paying 2,000 or even half of your life points to stop something is completely ludicrous and ridiculous. It's always been that way, and I never liked these cards. If I'm not mistaken, I spoke negatively about them, around the my early days of Yu-Gi-Oh 101 on making these videos, because I never liked the idea, well, of me paying that many life points to stop something, with Solemn Judgment in particular. Um, because when you pay life points, at least based on my logic, you're doing your opponent's work for you. You're basically putting your opponent in a position where that's less work than they have to do to defeat you. That's less life points they have to take away from you. That's the way I look at it. And the fact that I would be paying 2,000 or even 4,000 at max amount of life points, that's a lot. And just to stop one thing, that's not even, questionable. I wouldn't use these cards at all. It wasn't up until Puppet Ritual came in Number Hunters back in July of this year, 2013, that I honestly looked at Solemn Warning, and to a lesser extent Solemn Judgment, as good cards to use. Because like I said, my philosophy when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh is get more out of your cards than they allow. Normally, the average person in Yu-Gi-Oh, when they use Solemn Judgment or Solemn Warning, they only pay the life points and then they just, use whatever the card effect is. You know, and that's just what the card allows you to do. However, that does not mean you paying all that life points cannot go towards something else. And this is where that philosophy of mine kicks in. Get more out of your cards than what they allow you. Normally, you're just paying life points just to stop something or for card maintenance. But what if you paid that life point, those life points, and that actually went towards something else? And this is when Puppet Ritual came in. Puppet Ritual is a card for the uh, gimmick puppet archetype, and it reads right here: if your opponent's life points are at least 2,000 higher than yours, you can target 2 level 8 gimmick puppet monsters in your graveyard. Special summon those targets. You can only activate one puppet ritual per turn. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this card. Now, right there, that says it all. I need 2,000 or higher life points in order to use this card. Solemn Warning pays 2,000 life points exact. So right off the back, I'm setting myself up to use Puppet Ritual. And this is what I mean by getting more out of your cards. Don't just pay 2,000 life points to stop something, even though people have used it and it has worked out for them. I just never seen it. Me personally, I never seen the benefits of it. I can stop something with cards like Bottomless Trap Hole. I can stop something with Dark Hole. I can stop something with cards like Torrential Tribute, etc., and many other cards in the game. I can stop, something. But Solemn Warning and Solemn Judgment have been quote unquote those best cards in the game that people just use, and they don't. I've beaten people because they've used these cards because they paid all those life points and it only stopped one thing. But how does that benefit you in the long run? It really doesn't, because when you stop that one thing, that doesn't mean your opponent doesn't have anything else to, you know, if anything, or at least the way that I think, it's people in this game that wait on you to use cards like Solemn Warning and Solemn Judgment because they want you to pay that many life points to stop something that they have. It's like, okay, you paid all that life points, now that's less work than I gotta do. But if you paid those life points and it was going towards a card like Puppet Ritual, it doesn't seem like that much of a drawback now, does it? Again, get more out of your cards. And this is where cards like Pot of Duality come in. Now, Pot of Duality is a card that, from the, let me just read the description to you. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add one of them to your hand, then shuffle the rest back into your deck. You can only activate one Pot of Duality per turn. You cannot special summon during the turn you activate this card. Now, this is another card that I completely avoided ever since it was introduced, way back when. And I never thought, like, the idea of me using it never crossed my mind. Because just like with the Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgment uh, deal, it's a drawback to it that I feel like I would be able to win the game had I not used a card that turn. It's been plenty of people that have used Pot of Duality, you know, primarily in early game, because you don't have to worry about special summoning, early game like that. But it's still a drawback that can be very hurtful, because your opponent can capitalize on that opportunity that you wasn't able to special summon one of your powerful monsters. And you know these days, when cards basically can special summon themselves, or when you have non-monster cards that can special summon other monsters, or even monster cards that can special summon other monsters that can determine whether or not you win or lose the game. Cards like Pot of Duality don't seem that appealing to me because that negative drawback is always there. However, just like with Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgment, and the Puppet Ritual spell card, what if there was something you can do where you cannot special summon during the turn you activate this card? What if you were able to completely nullify that, and that was never a drawback for you? And I actually found this out because I was just researching cards on Dueling Network, and it just hit me. You know what I mean? And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And this happened actually when I was using the spirit monsters. Now I want you to think about this. With the exception of Yamato, spirit monsters cannot be special summoned from the hand, graveyard, deck, or the banish zone at all. They can't be special summoned, and with the new support that they got, they can search and they can gain some additional normal summons during your turn, which is helpful for like exceed summon or what have you. But with all the other cards that typically get used in a spirit deck, is that really a drawback? When you look at a card like Pot of Duality that prevents you from special summoning, but then you have the spirit monsters, again with the exception of Yamato that can be special summoned from the hand, and only from the hand. Spirit monsters can't be special summoned at all. So is that you cannot special summon during the turn you activate this card, is that drawback really a drawback now? You understand what I'm saying? It's one thing to use a card and not be in a position where that drawback can hurt you like it would normally affect someone using another build. But it's a completely different thing when you completely nullify, when you nearly nullify what that drawback was supposed to do to you, because your deck is just not built. Uh, that deck is just not built for doing that thing, that sort of thing. And with the spirit monsters, since they aren't special summoned, since they can't be special summoned at all, um, and Pot of Duality, you know, says that if you activate the card, you can't special summon that turn. It really just cancels each other out. So this is what I mean by getting more out of your cards. Back when Solemn Judgment was still legal, and well, Solemn Warning, it's at one. Um, you can still use it for puppet ritual, and it can still benefit you to that degree. And with Pot of Duality, if you use it in your spirit build, it's not hurtful to you at all. Where that you cannot special summon during the turn you activate this card, where that would normally be a drawback for nearly every build that actually uses Pot of Duality these days, typically, you put that in a spirit build, you're 100% out of the negative zone. Spirit monsters can't be special summoned. So how is this hurtful? How is that drawback a drawback? You understand what I'm saying? And this is the philosophy that I've carried with me since like 2003. Even though I've been playing since 2002, it's been like 2003, 2004. I've been carrying this philosophy, for a long time, and I thought I'd just share that with you guys. Um, Again, using cards like Pot of Duality in spirits. I run a spirit build. I've been running a spirit build. It's one of those types of monsters that I feel just get ignored unless there's some abusable, spammable way that those top tier net deckers can use them. And I hate bringing them up in my videos. I think I'm gonna stop doing that for a while. I'm tired of giving them attention anyway. But yeah, it's a really good philosophy. Get more out of your cards than your cards are allowing you to. I'm getting more, well, not necessarily more, but with cards like Pot of Duality. But that negative drawback, that negative side effect of Pot of Duality, isn't a negative side effect in a deck like Spirits or in a complete, like pure Spirit build, because Spirit monsters can't be special summoned. So you put two and two together right there. I mean, like that's like a perfect card for him. On top of the fact that I'm able to get that search uh, off, and I'm able to add one or three cards to my to my hand, and I'm not special summoning anyway, so okay, it's nothing. And also cards like Solemn Warning, now that that's at one, you can use that to set yourself up for cards like Puppet Ritual. I mean, like it's a win-win. So that's basically just the philosophy of mine. Again, get more out of your cards, and in the future, I do hope that I find something that I can continue this series of videos with, and but that remains to be seen. Only time will tell. But I hope this video was helpful for you guys. And with that being said, peace, and I'll talk to you guys later.